a virtual community builder that you can put in chat. And so there's a question there to prompt you. You can only choose one. You can't put all the bands or musicians you listened to in high school. Just one that was really seminal.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Those
I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. This is our
so
broadcast of the
dependent
Kitsap
on
Housing and Homeless Coalition meeting. They're going to start at 2:05. So glad that you can join us. Lots of good updates today. Matter of fact, I think we have a few presenters going on today, so you're not going to want to miss it. Please do subscribe to The Conduit so you never miss. Also, you can share and like. So when you like a video on YouTube, it actually helps out the algorithm and it recommends it to other people. And so there's a lot of people in and out of your circles that need to hear about what's going on with housing and homelessness in Kitsap County. So please, that one thing, super easy to do, just subscribe, like, and share this video out. Remember, every third Wednesday is the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition at 2 p.m. At 2:05 is when it gets started. I'm having a good day. I hope you are too. Thank you for joining us. And then tonight we will have City Council at 5:30. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off here. And I will let them do what they do. All right.
Hey Lisa, this is Priya. Would you mind making me a co-host so I can help with admitting people?
I would love to make you a co-host, and I'm doing it right now. Thank you for always reminding me.
Sure.
To those of you who just joined, welcome. Thank you for being here at the Housing and Homelessness Coalition. Just check out the slide. Please participate in the community builder. There's lots of good stuff. We'll get to share and learn a little bit about what our high school selves were like, or what at least what we listened to. And then we'll get started with the meeting in just a couple of minutes. Again, thank you for being here.
Hey Marwan, what's up? Lisa, Jason.
Hey, Tony.
Hello, Tony. Thank you for being here.
Are you in town, Tony?
Yes.
Do you have coffee in your office?
You mean the coffee that you want me to give you?
Uh-huh. I need to come see you.
Actually, I'll tell you a story. So my guys from Honduras were here yesterday, and I've never seen them in the United States, but we sell the Starbucks, right? So I went over to Seattle yesterday afternoon, and I wasn't gonna meet with them at Starbucks. They were like, "Hey, come to Starbucks meeting." So we were like back in the offices doing the whole thing. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, I have coffee for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, Martita. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for the invite. So excited to see what's going on and to share some information.
Wonderful. I'm just going to give it And Priya's going to continue to let people in if they're running a little bit late. And then again, one last chance, or not one last chance, but put in the chat the community builder, name one band or musician that you were really into when you were in high school. And then also, if you have an agency update. And we will do those at the end of today's meeting. We've got lots of good stuff on the agenda. Thanks to those of you who are here to present and share information to better help us be aware and spread good information to our clients, our patrons, and to each other. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this. And I'm going to share another screen. And so if you're not shy or aren't trying to multitask, like please do turn on your video. Just so you know, my name is Lisa Lechuga. I am the chair of the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition. I wanted to start off the meeting by reading our vision, mission, and values, especially for those who may not have attended the meeting before. So our vision is that every person in our community has a safe, decent, stable, and appropriate home. Our mission is the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition provides leadership to end homelessness through planning, coordination among social service providers, advocacy, and education. And our values are that we strive to carry out our mission with respect, commitment, compassion, integrity, and a willingness to change. Okay, and today's meeting is going to be recorded courtesy of Marwan Cameron at the Conduit. You can find postings of coalition meetings at least for the last 6 to 8 months, I believe, on the Conduit. So lots of good information there, and know that you can watch it asynchronously if you're not able to attend the meeting. Again, many thanks to Marwan and his team. And then I would like to introduce your executive team. So the executive team is part of the Housing and Homelessness Coalition, but they certainly do help me a lot in this work to provide the best information that we can. So Katie Sharp, if you could just wave hello or even put a little Zoom hand up. Katie Sharp is the vice chair. She's with the Bremerton Housing Authority that publishes the newsletter that is so helpful that all of you receive every month. Priya Cherry, she's in there. Yay, Priya. Priya is our secretary. She is one of the most amazing note takers, but also so much more. She redid the resource guide and updated that. So know that she updated all that and did a really wonderful redesign. The resource guide is on the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition webpage, which you can find at the bottom of your agenda. And I will post that as soon as we get to that part as well. I also want to give many thanks to Bridget Glasspool from Kitsap Mental Health. Hello, Bridget. She is at our meetings and she supports in a way that an official executive team person was, but we only have 3 positions, just so you guys know that. Bridget is just being part of it because hopefully she wants to, and I maybe force her a little bit too, because she has a lot of knowledge. Leif Wagner, are you in the meeting today? I don't think he's here today, but know that he is the person that does the Housing and Homelessness Coalition website. So he helps update it and maintain it for all of us. Carla Foster. There she is. She's waving at everybody. Carla Foster is from KCR. She is new to the executive team, but she has been doing amazing work at KCR for many years. And I'm so glad to have her brain to help support this work for the coalition. And last but not least, Virginia McCaslin from Kitsap County. Are
I
you
am
in
so
today?
sorry you're going through this. Keep me updated and let me know if
Hi,
you,
someone's not on mute and we can hear maybe a personal conversation happening. Thank you. Virginia, are you here?
I am here.
Hi, Virginia. So Virginia is also on the executive team. She is supporting because, as you may or may not know, Kirsten Jewell has moved on to the state level. She was an amazing resource for the county. She's going to be so for the state. And I will share a little bit more information just about an amazing Kitsap Sun article. If you guys didn't happen to catch that on Sunday, there's more to what is occurring with Kirsten. She also sent a letter out to all of the coalition, but we're so grateful that the county will still be part of this work to help inform and keep in touch with all of you. Okay, one thing that I forgot to pull up, we're going to shift over to minutes approval. So let me pull that up from February. I don't know if you guys can remember all of that from that long ago, because we had our award ceremony in our March. Okay, here are the minutes. Okay, I'm going to share the screen momentarily. And so these are our meeting minutes from the month of February, which feels like many years ago. But if you could just peruse the notes, and if I can get a motion to approve from 2 people. Also, I will mention at this meeting, Kirsten kind of walked through, she gave a state of the county report regarding housing and homelessness. So these notes have been shared out. I believe we have them on our website, but or we will have them, but they need to be approved. But lots of great information from that.
Lisa, I want to say too that so we send the notes out prior to the meeting on the MailChimp newsletter, and that archive of all the newsletters we've sent through email is actually on the website, so you can see any links. We sent the presentation out and things, the materials from this, so it's nice because it's in date order, so you can go back and
Lisa, I'll go ahead and motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Bridget. Do I have a second?
this is Nicole Oberg. I will second.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Minutes are approved. Before we get started with our presentations, I just want to walk everyone through the agenda today. We've got a lot going on. Let me pull that one up. Okay. So I have good updates from the coalition's executive team. We also have Tony Ives from KCR. I believe Jill Stanton is going to be here from Bremerton Housing Authority. And we have Joe Crane from St. Vincent de Paul to share information on the Kitsap County Affordable Housing Task Force. Also on the agenda is the city of Bremerton. Garrett Jackson, the planning manager, has some housing proposals that he wanted to share with the coalition. And last but not least, we always have a standing agenda item from Kitsap County. So Virginia and Corey will be giving updates about any news from the county in regards to housing and homelessness. And then there is some initial data from the point in time count that Corey is planning to share. At the end of the meeting, we will have time for any agency updates. And I just want to call out, like, to the bottom of the agenda, if you are not subscribed to the Housing and Homelessness newsletter, you can do that just by clicking on, you can go to the Housing and Homelessness website, which is the top link. If you have specific updates to share, or if you want to present at the coalition, you just email this admin email and we'll coordinate with you to get that scheduled. And to be subscribed on our mailing list, just go to this tiny URL. And of course, if you have any like questions, you can reach out to the executive team at this admin email. I also wanted to let everyone know, some of you have done this, and this is just a recurring reminder. We have a list of partner agencies that we always share on the agenda. And a lot has changed since the onset of the pandemic. And so I'm working on updating this. And how you will be on this list is if you subscribe to our mailing list. We're going to start updating that. And there's an application to be a coalition member. And so please do fill that out. It's a brief form. We just want to make sure that you or your organization still wants to be part of the coalition. The past year, we've been trying to clean up old email lists and get everything as updated as possible for the coalition. Any questions before I proceed? Okay. Then we're going to dig in, because we're meeting virtually and it seems to work out pretty well for most of us. I do want us to connect. And like one thing that I observed when I first started attending the Housing and Homelessness Coalition was that we met in person. And so a lot of people were able to have informal conversations. We don't have that time as much now. So I think the community builders are super important, as silly or as cool as they are. And if you ever have ideas for community builders, I am all up for it, because I have to wing it many times.
Wait, Lisa, I love your community builders. I love it so much that I used it in an all-staff meeting at Bremerton Housing Authority. It was amazing because I love reading them off. I mean, it helps so much to start the meeting on a good note. So thank you. I encourage anybody to kind of use this kind of model. It is really helpful in a virtual setting.
Thank you, Katie. Well, then that sets us up. I'm going to read everyone's like favorite high school band or musician. So Sandra from Helpline House loved Metallica. Katie loved the Killers. Scott Willard from KHOC loved the Police. Jason from Kitsap County Aging and Long-Term Care was a Green Day fan. Emily Larson from Kitsap Rescue Mission, Lady Gaga. Nicole Vaughn, Nirvana. Deanna Conger from the library, loved Van Halen with the David Lee Roth. She's specific there, and she's right. Madison from Kitsap Homes of Compassion, Fall Out Boy. Molly from KHOC loved, is it Sia or Saya? I never know how to pronounce that. Okay, it's going to remain a mystery.
Yeah.
Sia, thank you. Bridget from Kitsap Mental Health loved Social Distortion. Mike from Housing Resources Bainbridge loved Lincoln Park. Sonia Miles, it's a secret. Nicole from Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Services was a diehard Radiohead fan. Let's see. Nicole from KCAR was into Christina Aguilera. Let's see. Talia's here from Kitsap Public Health. Jill Stanton, yay, the Go-Go's. I love it. Maria Fergus from Kitsap Public Health. Kenny Rogers, love it. I like that duet that he does with Dolly Parton. Chuck is here. What's your favorite band, Chuck?
My favorite band in high school was Chicago.
Ah, Chicago, Saturday in the Park. Nice.
Nice.
Martitha, what was your favorite band in high school?
Nirvana.
Nirvana, classic. Corey from the county. He's Pink Floyd / Porcupine Tree. He couldn't choose just one. He didn't hear me say that you have to choose just one. So we've got two. I've never heard of Porcupine Tree. I'm gonna have to check them out. Priya, our intrepid secretary, loved Paramore. Michelle J. from Kitsap Transit, No Doubt, and Green Day. Joseph Crane, what was your favorite high school band?
I didn't have one, sad to say.
I like that. You do you. It's all right not to have a band. Let's see. Nicole has an update. Leah, did you have a favorite musician or band?
Yeah, TLC.
TLC. Oh, I like that. All right. I'm losing people because I'm scrolling and I'm talking. Okay. Teresa Balu, is Escape a band? I don't remember them. Okay. I'm gonna have to check them out. Brenda Johnson from KCR loved Nickel Creek. Not loved, loves Nickel Creek. All right. Madison has also an update. Sorry, you guys are also trying to do business, which is good. Updates. Okay. Carla Foster. You love New Edition. I still love New Edition too. Kitsap Rescue Mission, they have an update. We'll get to that in just a moment. Thank you all for being here. Okay, Eric is in and out. Tony Ives loved Marvin Gaye. Yes. You know what? I was just watching his national anthem at some basketball tournament on YouTube. It's amazing. So you all should check that out. It's one of the best national anthems sung ever. Martita has Nirvana. Danielle Gorman from PCHS, Tool. And Martita also mentioned a Mexican band called Mana. For me, I was kind of a mix all over the place. And I don't know why I'm embarrassed to say this now, because I did really love them. Now I just want to say cool hip hop but I loved U2 in high school. They were the band for me. And I feel a little embarrassed about it now, and I shouldn't because they're pretty good, even though I don't listen to them as much anymore. And I got Mother Love Bone too. So thank you all for sharing a little bit about yourselves when you were teenagers, because guess what? We're not that different. Our bodies are just not behaving as well as we want them to anymore. Okay. With that, we're going to get started with some updates, some good updates. So, executive team update I already shared. As Kirsten Jewell has transitioned out, we're happy to have support from Virginia McCaslin from Kitsap County's Housing and Homelessness Division to support the work and to share information. I'm really excited about this, and I'm going to share my screen. So we're updating the free meal guide, and let me pull that up here. I'm going to get it out to everybody. A staff member at Kitsap Regional Library, her name is Laura Jordan. She did a redesign to make this a little bit easy to read. And then I worked on some updates, and there had been quite a few changes since it was last updated. And so this is a preview. I'm going to get this out to the coalition members. And I'm hoping to get this published and on the KHHC website for you all to download and utilize. And so if I want to give the coalition time to peruse the information and see if there's other things that are missing. But I have a deadline. So if you have any recommendations, you need to email the admin at kitsap.hhc.org and let me know what your recommendation for addition is, or if you know that information is wrong. And I need that by next Tuesday, April 25th. The reason why is because I'm trying to get this out to the community before Salvation Army transitions to their new schedule. So their meals are changing. They're no longer serving dinners, and their evening shelter will be closed, as most of you may know. And so I want to get this out so that the most current information about where to find food is out there for service providers and also for the public that utilizes these services. So I think it looks beautiful. It's much easier to read, in my opinion. I'm very grateful for our library staff for working on this design. There's lots of good things going on. And so please do take a chance, take some time in the next couple of days to review it. And if you have recommendations for additions, again, please email admin@kitsap.hhc.org. And then you will find it on Wednesday, April 25th on the KHHC website. Okay. I'm going to table the Pacific Project letter of support. Pacific Project is the shelter with wraparound services in Port Orchard on Mile Hill. I'll share a little bit more about that in the county's portion of updates. Partner agency update that I have had on the agenda was just to kind of remind everybody to email the coalition and try to get reset up with application to be a member. We're just updating information. And then some information to share with all of you. I gotta say, Kitsap Sun, our newspaper, has been awesome. And they've been sharing a lot of good information this past week to inform the public about work and all updates, many updates regarding the housing and homelessness. So I am sharing my screen, and this is my personal Kitsap Sun account. But on Sunday, for those of you who are interested, there was just a beautiful article with Kirsten Jewell, and she talked about, leaving her role at the county. And she also kind of laid out like what she thought with all of her experience in the county, like what would be like, good, solid, like solutions or progress towards alleviating homelessness. And so it's an excellent article. I will try and share these out in the follow-up notes. And I recommend that all of you read it if you have not yet had a chance. And then again on Monday, Kitsap Sun had, they talked about, there was an article about a temporary shelter in Port Orchard. And so this is kind of a temporary emergency shelter. They don't have that in Port Orchard. And I believe that the city is accepting public comment until April 23rd or 24th. It's in the article, and so for those of you who are invested or have services in Port Orchard, please do take a look at that if you have not yet read it.
Excuse me, can I add one thing there?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Port Orchard City Council is super excited about this project. I was just at the city council meeting, and everybody was talking about it and congratulating the mayor, and then everybody that was involved with it, including our team, our team at KCR, they were talking about it. So this is the first time that Port Orchard has really embraced a project like this. So this is cool.
That's amazing. I feel like there's going to be lots of supports that are developing for Port Orchard this year. Thank you, Tony, for sharing that there's a positive reception. I appreciate that. I do see a hand raised from Janae.
Hi, I was just curious, who's going to be spearheading that company?
The Pacific Housing Project or the temporary shelter?
The temporary shelter.
I read the article and I don't know who's actually running it. Tony, do you know?
Hey, somebody on our team. I think it's us, but Brenda, Carla, but we're part of it. That's in a contractual agreement because that's what they were discussing. But I didn't know the details of it. Okay, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know if it alluded to it in the article, like who is like heading it. But I think it's on it's right now, it's at the public comment. So it hasn't happened just yet. But that's a first place to start. And if you support this, then you want to make public comment as well. I'll try, Priya, well, can you let's try and explore more on who is doing that.
Sure thing.
And then the last thing that I wanted to share from the Kitsap Sun, it seems like they've been really kind of sharing about this important issue. In Wednesday's paper, they have a church renovation into 22-room shared home is proposed in Port Orchard. This is also a proposal. But again, and this is specifically for young adults, which I think is also an amazing opportunity. And so at this point, just kind of learn and be aware for all these future possibilities that could improve structural support for people that are vulnerable to homelessness. So Kitsap Sun has been doing awesome. And with that, and I'll try and get those links out. Thank you, Katie, for getting Kirsten's out as well. So we're going to transition to our first presentation, and I'm only 10 minutes late because I've been very chatty. So thank you, Jill, Tony, and Joe, if you are here, for your patience on that. We'll adjust the time frame so you'll still have 15 minutes as needed. And this is really just to share and hopefully recruit support for Kitsap County's Affordable Housing Task Force. So I give the floor to Tony, Jill, and Joe.
Thanks, Lisa. So this is Jill from Bremerton Housing Authority. So great meeting so far, really fun. Thank you for everything you're doing. Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yes, Jill, you should be able to you should have those permissions. If you don't, Priya and I will work on getting them for you.
Okay, I think I do. Can people see that?
Yes.
And is it in the presentation format?
Yes.
It's the whole screen. Okay, good. Oops, now it's not. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn it over to Tony, and he's going to get us started, and then Joe will chime in, and so will I as we go through the presentation.
Okay, are you sure I'm getting you started? I will, but I thought this was Joe, but I'll do it.
You're one of you.
Okay, I'll do it. So, actually, this is Joe. Joe, you do this. This is your area.
Yeah, everybody, hi. Apologize for being in and out. I'm actually at the open air shelter in Tacoma right now with some members from Kitsap County looking at different shelter models. But really this all started about a year ago. Just organically, we own property between Callow and Wyckoff at our current location at St. Vincent de Paul. The structures are aged. And we went through a time of strategic planning and decided that we need to renovate our property and leverage the little over 2 acres that we own there. And so we realized really early on that any project like this wouldn't be successful unless we do it with the community or work with the community and making it happen. So a little over a year ago, I had a smaller team of representatives from Bremerton Housing Authority. Jill was there. Robin O'Grady was there from Kitsap Rescue Mission. Tony was just recently on board, KCR. We invited him and several representatives from Catholic Community Services. And we had Steve Rice and Mike Miller of Rice Fergus Miller there as well, both of which are retired from RFM. And we have the honor of having Mike Miller on our board now at St. Vincent de Paul. So at this initial meeting, we just said, hey, we really need to collaborate on this to make this housing project work, because we know that that's how these things are successful. Try to get drawings by July. We ended up having drawings closer to October. And we brought that team together plus a wider swath that included Kirsten Jewell, Doug Washburn, the mayor was there, Bremerton, Mayor Wheeler, some other representatives from the community. And this is really kind of taken on a life of its own. So we ended up having three meetings before the end of the year, and we realized that with the support, really, I've heard over 100 people now are wanting to be a part of this affordable housing task force. So we're in the development right now of formation and really looking at what processes we're going to have in place and how we're going to make this work to tackle the affordable housing crisis that Kitsap County is facing. And so thankful to Jill and to Tony for just coming alongside us, and really organically this is kind of formed into this Kitsap County Affordable Housing Task Force, co-chaired by Jill, Tony, and I. And I'll turn it over to Tony.
Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. So, yeah, Joe's right. This has been a great, unbelievable project. So I'll just go through some of the data here. So why are we doing this? I think everybody in this room knows why we're doing this, but Kitsap County, like other cities and counties, we're in a crisis, especially for affordable. So in 2015, Washington State Affordable Housing Needs Assessment estimated that there are only 12 units of affordable housing for every 100 units needed by people earning less than 30% of AMI. So this results in 4,500 approximately renter households at 30% of AMI, and 4,110 renter households at 50%, and so on. Additional 2,700 homeowner households at 30%, and 2,800 and change at households at 50% AMI are cost burden. People can't even afford it. So these are the households most at risk of housing instability and homelessness. That was out of the 2009 Kitsap Homeless Crisis Response and Housing Plan. Jill? I'll keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So again, Joe said this literally started about a year ago. I didn't even know Joe. I didn't know Jill, for God's sakes. And when we all met at 1201 Park at KCR, but we basically decided to come together to identify specific gaps in housing availability, locate land, locate funding sources, both government and private, and connect them to specific projects. So the volunteer task force is sponsored by us, KCR, Kitsap Department of Human Services. I mean, Doug and Kirsten and Joel, they're all a part of this. It's very cool. And Sonia as well. And then BHA, of course, in the city of Bremerton, St. Vincent de Paul, and we're all trying to address what we're all trying to address in this room. And that's affordable housing crisis currently facing the community. So basically, there are 3 subcommittees, and we're going to talk about that. And it's formed to do research and collaborate. Joe?
Yeah, so we figured that, first of all, we need to determine what are our targets. So really looking at the housing data in terms of not creating data ourselves or researching data, but really digging through all the different data sets that are available to us, especially from Commerce and Kitsap County, KCR, just really kind of delving into that data, looking at really what's our need. And over the next 20 years, between now and 2044, we need 24,000 new affordable housing here in Kitsap County. And so that's what my committee has really been looking at. There's some other, subsets of data as well, but that's really the big picture. And we're going to have a report, hopefully by the end of the week, that we're going to be able to publish and share. But that's what the data committee is all about, just making sure we have a targeted approach. We're just not, swinging in the air, but we really know what we need. And so that way we can present that to the other committees that Tony and Jill chair.
Great, thank you, Joe, thank you, Tony. So the committee that I'm going to be chairing is the Housing Opportunities Committee. And really what we're trying to do in this committee is to identify and create a list of potential housing projects or housing projects that are already underway. We want to make sure that these projects actually have the resources that they need to be completed. And so by creating this pipeline, we're asking for information not only about where they are or who they're going to be serving, but also what are the resources that they have gotten so far, and then what are the resources that they still need, whether it be a financial gap, or they might need vouchers for ongoing operations, or they might need help with managing the units, things like of that nature. So we've been working on a dashboard where people can fill out a form if they have a project that their agency is working on, or is a potential project that they are working on, but maybe don't have even the site identified yet. And with the idea that if we all work together, there's a lot of resources in different agencies that we can have a better chance at, one, getting the funding we need for these projects, and then two, making sure that once we get the funding, they have all of the resources that they need to get the projects finished and to get them operating in compliance with whatever regulations of the funding sources that they obtained are. And so it was a pretty good committee for the Bremerton Housing Authority, because many times we know the projects that are being suggested or that are underway, because people will contact us for vouchers or other sort of resources. So it was kind of a natural fit. And I'm just really briefly going to show you the beginnings of the dashboard. So this is the home page, and if you go over to the project dashboard, there's only a few in here so far. We just got it ready this week to send out to people, but you can see each project will have its own sort of dashboard look to it. So the Bremerton Housing Authority, we're building a 9-unit complex right now. This is our estimated total cost of the project. We have gotten a commitment from the city of Bremerton so far for about $579,000. And so this shows the financial gap, and we'll get into how we're going to help with the financial gap in a later slide. But this is just the dashboard look at this. I'm going to press on it, and if you press on it, you can go in and see that we're actually accumulating a lot more information than what you just see on the dashboard. Part of the reason that we've structured it in this way, asking for residency type, housing status, and other things, site identified, all of this information, is because when you actually go to fill out an application for a grant, they're going to ask for all of this information. So we figured, let's get people comfortable with knowing what they're going to have to fill out. Now, lot, but it really takes very little time to fill this out. If you don't have all the information, you can just skip the question. We have it set up so if you don't actually have like site control or site identify, you can put no to that. You won't be asked some of these other questions. So, but we want really to have a way to know what everybody's working on when it comes to affordable housing in Kitsap County, so that so when those data shows that there's a certain population that are underserved, and we're looking for projects for that population. If there's an agency that's working on something or just wants to work on that they would be in here, so that we can say, oh, okay, we need this in Kitsap County. Here's the project. Here's some resources that we've identified for this project, and just all really support each other in making sure that we're successful. So I'm going to close this, and hopefully I won't get rid of the PowerPoint when I do that. No, look, I'm getting good at this. Okay, so then the next committee is the Government Advocacy and Funding Committee, and I'm going to let Tony talk about that.
Okay, it's a perfect segue, but before I go on, I got to give Katie from BHA total props on that Airtable, because she spent a lot of time on it and going back and forth and changing it, and now it's just beautiful. My spreadsheet looks like terrible compared to this one, so I don't want to sit down. Anyway, thanks, Katie. So what Jill just said, looking at that, the dashboard and the data, there is one thing I'm just going to bring up. So my job, or this committee's job, Monica Bernhardt, she's a co-chair of this committee, and the idea is the pipelines are what Jill is working on. So we're going to advocate for funding and identify funding sources, whether they're from commerce, whether it's the $5 million from the city, from the county, any city money that's coming in, any private sector money that wants to come in, or even federal money. The federal government reached out to us last week and asked us, what are we doing and what do we need? So there's an opportunity to leverage funding. So let's say on the dashboard, let's say you have a project that's just permanent supportive housing, or let's say it's a project just for youth, okay? Now there's funding sources that have very specific things. Permanent supportive housing, for example, that's Apple Health and Home. There's about $3 billion there ready to spend. Amazon threw some money in that, but Commerce is allocating that, but it's permanent supportive housing wrapped around healthcare. So if you can find projects and then the funding source and put them together, that's what we're trying to do. And one thing about the spreadsheet that Jill's team is putting together, we're trying to identify the timelines. How far are you into the project, right? And that way, maybe someone is ready to go, maybe someone else has 2 years to go, but as funding comes up, you can just push it that way. So that's the idea. So for us, you guys don't believe it, there seems to be a lot of money coming to housing now. I know Senator Murray's office is pushing it, and I know some of big funders like Amazon is also committing money to it. So there's an opportunity, and what we're trying to do is be ready. Okay, and if anybody has any questions about that, I'm open, or is interested in joining.
Thanks, Tony. And so,
okay.
As far as our task force product, we've kind of already talked about each one of these, but we really just want to have a current target for the different types of affordable housing that we need. Have an ongoing dashboard, a list of projects assigned to meet the demand, and then have a reference for advocacy. And I didn't include it here, I don't know why, but also identify the funding sources for the various projects that we're working on. And I think one thing that we should be really proud of is this has just happened organically, but it kind of worked with this Mills Crossing project that KCR just recently purchased. This project came to my attention, and it wasn't something that BHA could really take on at the time. And so I went to Joe's meeting about St. Vincent de Paul, mentioned it to Tony, and the next day he had everybody there. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
No, it was a task force meeting, and Joe was presenting at Rice Miller, and Jill walks in and said, "Hey, let's walk outside. There's something you gotta see." And then as soon as she did, Doug Washburn was there. I said, "Doug, let's go look at this tomorrow." And so the very next morning, we looked at each other like, "Okay, who's gonna do this, right?" Because it just was a beautiful project, and they were looking for a buyer, and it just came together just like that quickly. So this deal closes June 16th, and permanent supportive housing, and it's going to be cool.
And it's just a great example because KCR was able to apply for project-based vouchers. So now we just made that award today. That's an announcement that KCR will have 18 project-based vouchers for this project, and there's vacancies now, so it's going to be an immediate resource for families in need. And I believe that's the last slide. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing. Turn it over to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Jill, Joe, and Tony. This is so exciting, and I just appreciate you sharing that. I think there's been a little bit of confusion as the housing task force has just been in development, and people have been confusing it with the coalition. Although I think the mission and definitely overlaps. And again, I just want to restate the 3 committees and how, if anyone in the coalition was interested in supporting, how might they contact? What should they do to support either one of the committees?
Why don't we'll each just put our email in the chat, and they can email any one of us. Joe, I don't know if you're at a place where you can do that right now, but I can put mine in there, and they can put yours. And they can contact us. And yeah, I think that's a really good point, Lisa, is we have a lot of common vision and mission with the coalition, but we're not the coalition, and we want to support the coalition and the agency members as well as support. And there's no overlapping as far as what the work that we're kind of each doing. We're not going to take any work away from the coalition at all. We want to work really cooperatively and have good support.
Lisa, we actually talked about that to try to avoid confusion before we came out with this, and so there still may be some confusion, but we're all in this together, and that's the biggest thing, right? So, and one other thing, every time I mention anything, and then Joe and Jill are the same way, it's housing task force first. Oh, Mills Crossing, housing task force. This is what Kitsap County. Whatever the project is, right? So we're out there now, and Kitsap Sun has been great with us. So I'm going to reiterate what you said, Lisa.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Yeah, I really do appreciate our local news, and that they're really making a priority to share that information. I don't think you guys have to worry about the work with the coalition. We have a different level of capacity, and it was something that the executive team had definitely talked about was a gap in what the housing coalition could do. So I'm just thrilled about this, and it looks like if anyone is interested in supporting either one of those committees, it's as easy as emailing Tony, Jill, or Joe. I'm gonna open the floor for questions. Martita, I noticed that you had your hand up earlier. Do you still have a question?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to all for being involved in this. Tony, thank you, Jill, everybody. I just raised up, and Tony, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm going to be asking regarding gaps for the immigrant community. We have clients that, undocumented, and when you receive funds from federal funds, I'm sure that they will not qualify to apply for this beautiful housing. So it's a concern about clients that we have.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I don't quite know the rules, and Jill may know some of those rules, but still there are still different pools of funding, Martita. So.
All right. Thank you. It's just that concern to see if something can be done about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Martita. Any other questions? questions regarding Kitsap County Affordable Task Force / project Miller's Crossing. Does anyone have any questions for our presenters? Yes, Michael.
So to be involved in this, is it appropriate for individuals to be involved in this or only other organizations?
So it's definitely appropriate for individuals. We have a lot of people that are not associated with agencies that just want to participate. So definitely, if you're interested, email any one of us.
I will be sending you someone an email here shortly.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Michael. And thanks for signing up to help. I've got a question in chat asking if you'll be providing the presentation. Jill, we can include the presentation in the meeting notes. Are you able to share that?
Yes, I can. So I'll just send it to Katie then?
You can send it. Katie is a pathway through. It's probably the most convenient for you. So yeah, she'll get it to us.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you again so much, the three of you, for sharing this exciting news and for being here today. I'm going to transition now to Garrett Jackson. Garrett, are you in the room? Garrett Jackson, City of Bremerton.
Lisa, there might be some confusion that it might have started at 3. So, and it's just a few minutes before 3, so he might join us after 3. I'm hopeful because I think one of your invites happened to say 3 instead of 2.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. I will, I'm gonna try, I know Virginia's here and I don't know if Corey's here. Maybe we can jump to the county's update. And Judy Ray was also going to be here. So Virginia, from Kitsap County's Division of Housing and Homelessness, are there any updates?
I have a couple of updates for this group, not a whole lot, and certainly not as in-depth as what Kirsten used to provide to the group. As you all know, and as has been mentioned, Kirsten has now successfully transitioned to commerce. So it's been a little different around our division without her for the last few days. We have an update on the HHDP renewals. Those have the 2023 renewals have all either been fully executed or they are currently in the routing system. So if anybody has questions around the status of your contract, please feel free to reach out to me. And I can do some digging and see where you're at in that process. The ARPA funding, that's the American Rescue Plan Act funding, those contracts are a little bit delayed for the 2023 because of some questions around which federal forms and language and whatnot to use. So we're working our way through that. And again, if you have questions about your specific contract, reach out to our team. Other funding related items, we're currently working on CHG and HEN RFPs for 2023 to 2025. I don't yet have a release date for those, but they'll be coming shortly. And the coordinated grant process timeline has been published and pre-applications are now open and being received. So I can post the link in the chat for that. That is where you would go to apply for any of the AHDP, HHDP, CHG, 0.1% of 1%. It's a whole list of different funding sources that are collaboratively applied for through this process. So I'll go ahead and post that in the chat so folks have it. Otherwise, we had our severe weather season, our severe weather shelter season has wrapped up. That ended March 31st, and we're already looking to strengthen the project for next year. So a lot of really good development pieces that are in the works for us over the summer and the fall. So, Leah, Corey, did you have any other updates from the division?
I do not have anything beyond that.
go through the point in time initial data. Can I interrupt and just ask Virginia and county team, Leah and Corey included, what is the status of getting a new manager for your division? Is that in process and posted?
Yeah, it is posted. My understanding is they're actively doing interviews right now. So it sounds like it might not be a very long time before we have somebody phenomenal join the team.
Very exciting. And then I also just want to share with everyone regarding Kirsten, like she might have updates from the state. So I just told her like if she ever needed to, wanted to share information or just check in and support, she was welcome to, and she just holds everyone in such high regard here. Corey, I have the data sheet that I can share, but you are also able to share it. Are you ready?
Yeah, let me see if I can get my share running here. Just a moment. Okay, so we conducted our annual point in time count this year. For those of you that don't know, the annual point in time count is a project that we do every year. It's part of a HUD requirement and a state requirement that each county perform what's called the point in time count, which is essentially creating like a snapshot of homelessness on a single night in the last week of January. That snapshot is meant to include information about households that are in our shelter programs and transitional housing, and households that are experiencing unsheltered homelessness. So we do this through a number of different means. We do a service count where we essentially send volunteers out to perform surveying at food banks and social service organizations. We get help from other social service organizations, including many of you from this group that help us with the count to survey people during kind of a week time frame, asking where people are going to be staying on that Thursday night. So the count also includes unsheltered homeless count. So we recruit a lot of volunteers and work with outreach teams in the county here to be able to go out and survey people outdoors on a single night, which we've been doing ours in the morning. That may change in the future. But essentially we go out and we meet people where they're staying and survey them in person. We also do the Project Connect resource fairs is another place where we survey. And that is one of the things that returned this year after we were not able to perform that during the pandemic for the prior 2 years. We were able to return to having the Project Connect resource fairs and survey people that are coming in that are either unsheltered, in shelter, or facing housing instability. So we're able to collect a lot of great information by interviewing people and asking them about, what are their barriers to housing? What are some of the challenges that they're dealing with? Where are they staying? Are they from Kitsap County initially? So in our point in time count this year, so we've noticed an increasing trend of people that are experiencing homelessness. So this year we had a 34% increase over the last point in time count. Right now our preliminary count is 245 unsheltered individuals. In our certified count, that's going to reduce by a few. It'll be similar, but it will be probably a couple households smaller than this preliminary report. And that's a substantial increase from 2022, but realize in 2022, we weren't able to do the Project Connect resource fairs. And that is where we meet a lot of people. So the count is always considered to be an undercount since it's based on volunteers and people voluntarily participating in the survey process. So when we ask people where are they staying, kind of on that snapshot of a night, we had a total of 604 people counted. 359 of those were sheltered and 245 were unsheltered. So about 60% of the people that we counted on that particular night were in a sheltered situation. About 40% were living outdoors, in tents, encampments, vehicles, RVs, boats. And when we talked to people about where they were on that night, about 58% that responded surveyed in Bremerton and they were staying in Bremerton. And then for people that were unsheltered, about 15% were seen in Port Orchard, 15% in Silverdale, and then smaller numbers in Poulsbo and Bainbridge Island. We asked them characteristics about if they have any mental health issues, disabilities, chronic health conditions. Of households that responded, 67% said that they had a mental health issue. And this is quite a startling figure. That's 2/3 of responders to the survey that say that they have a mental health issue. And that has been something that has been increasing year over year over year since we started doing the reports for the point in time count. And so it just continues to increase each year. The second highest characteristic is that 45% report chronic substance use issues. And then where did people have their last permanent residence is one of the questions we asked. This year, 75% responded that they were from Kitsap County. Their last permanent housing was in Kitsap County. And that is a very similar figure year over year. Usually between 75 and 80% of responders are from their last permanent housing was in Kitsap County. They're from Kitsap County and they have stayed in Kitsap County. And then we also asked them kind of what are the reasons that led to their homelessness. This year, the two main reasons given were due to mental health or health issues, that they had lost their housing, or due to their inability to work or job loss, along with most respondents. So we do have additional information that we don't put on the summary sheet. So if you do have any specific questions about certain subpopulations, like maybe if you need to know about youth or veterans, I can provide some details on that once we complete our certified report. The certified report is done by the Washington State Department of Commerce. They submit that towards the end of April, and at that point in time, we'll be able to provide our certified numbers for this point in time count. So I will stop there and let me know if you have any questions. Oh, and finally, I do want to thank all of the volunteers and all of the members of this group that help us to do this annual point in time count. It takes hundreds of people going out there, surveying, helping us to make sure that we get as complete a picture and complete information as we can so that we can help use that information to help inform many of our other projects that happen in the county. So I thank you all so much for your help with this. And I look forward to doing it with you again next year.
Thanks so much, Corey, for sharing this data. It is a very important evening. It's hard to capture that through one-to-one interviews, so just appreciate all your efforts to capture this in order to advocate for people who don't have homes. So I don't know if I noticed that there's a question from Katie in the chat. Do you have more details on locations within Kitsap County for the last place of residence?
Yes, so we do collect, I do have zip codes or cities in most cases when we do get responses for that. So I don't have that broken down by the city here, but I can provide that information. As Katie?
Thank you so much, Corey. Yeah, I was just curious. I like the summary, I like the high level, but I was curious like how many details if we ever needed that data. I'm not saying we need it now, but it is nice to know that data is being collected.
Yep, we've got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
Any other questions for Corey regarding the point in time data? Okay, well, I just appreciate the
Thank you for
team at
everyone.
the county. Thank you so much for keeping us informed on what's going on in the county, and just the resources that you have are really helpful to all of us. So thank you for that. Okay, I did email Garrett. Let's see, I was all, you have about 15 minutes. So what we can do now is transition to any agency updates. And it looks like we have quite a bit in chat. So I'm gonna, oh, Garrett, yay! Yeah. All right, you did it. Welcome to the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition. We're excited to hear about the City of Bremerton's housing proposals. I give the floor to you.
Sounds great. Okay. Just a sec here. Okay, does everybody see what looks like a normal PowerPoint?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, so we're here just to raise awareness about our comprehensive plan update. And it's part of our requirements to provide continuous feedback and awareness to the community about our comprehensive plan update process. So we're happy to be here today to present. So I'm going to go through our basic comprehensive plan and process update, and then provide some details on what our housing strategy is. The City of Bremerton not only needs to meet our local needs, but we also have to plan through a layered jurisdictional review that starts with Washington State and the Growth Management Act. And then we also have to meet the regional planning policies for our regional partners through Puget Sound Regional Council. And that includes the Kitsap, Pierce, Snohomish, and King counties. And then the other layer of jurisdiction would be the Kitsap Regional Coordinating Council, and that's all jurisdictions within Kitsap. So it's not just our local review, we need to meet every layered review through each one of those jurisdictional stakeholders. For the Growth Management Act, an important thing to understand is that urban densities can only occur within urban growth areas. So that's cities and urban growth areas. This is a map of Washington State. And you'll see these small smatterings of blue all throughout the state. And those are either cities or urban growth areas. And those are the only areas within Washington State where urban growth and urban densities are allowed to occur. So a lot of this area might seem rural, but it is designated to become dense areas. So there is kind of a general trend to urbanize in small areas of the state. And then there in our city, we have a microcosm of that where we're trying to condense the population and intensity of uses within also smaller areas. We have two areas that are regionally significant through Puget Sound Regional Council, and that's our downtown Bremerton, downtown regional center, and at the Bremerton Airport, we have a manufacturing and industrial center. So whether we can increase populations in our downtown sub-area plan, specifically as far as housing is concerned, is not only important locally, but it's also important regionally that we absorb those numbers. We have a number of other growth centers beyond downtown where we try to concentrate population densities. That includes downtown, over by Charleston rather, Minette, and the Wheaton Way 303 corridor, and Eastside Village, which is a sub-area plan around the old Harrison Hospital. We locate all of our large density increases in these areas in order to provide more efficient use of infrastructure like mass transit and other utilities. If you condense these utilities and infrastructure upgrades in smaller areas, then you can get more bang for your buck, more people using those investments. So this has become particularly important with the adoption of Kitsap Transit's long-range plan. It was just adopted in December of that will be operating from the ferry terminal in Bremerton, connecting all the way up to Silverdale. And bus rapid transit is defined as a bus that will come at your station once every 15 minutes. So it's a very dependable form of transit. So the city's housing goals at this point are to locate the majority of our housing along this future rapid transit route. Now, this is particularly important because the city's population is going to increase from about 45,000 today to about a little under 64,000 people by the year 2044. This might seem kind of like a pie in the sky number of forecasted and projecting, but as far as our current forecast is concerned, the city has been outperforming what our population projections have been, so this seems fairly attainable. So our comprehensive plan focuses on how to locate this increased population in centers and along that 303 corridor. And our plan has to be adopted by December of 2024. If you go to our website, 2044.com, it's a great way to keep updated on each month. We take a separate topic to the Planning Commission. Just this month, we went on Monday, we had our environmental element taken to the Planning Commission for consideration. There's a lot of legislation moving with the state right now. So a lot of this is going to have to be updated. There was some climate change legislation that's passed both chambers of the House, both chambers of Congress and at the state level. So we're probably going to have to redo what we have planned already for our environmental section. There's also a lot of housing legislation that's going to be passed just this month and signed into law when the governor signs those proposals into law, which is going to really change the way that we have projected our population growth. Really fascinating. I'm looking forward to the end of April when we can see what's signed by the governor and what is not, because there's going to be a lot of significant change for housing in Washington State. That being said, one of the things on our website is just our general work program for our comprehensive plan update process, where you can go online and figure out what the topic is for each month if you're interested. And back in the end of October, beginning of November, we sent a postcard to every resident and property owner in the city of Bremerton, letting them know, the comprehensive plan is coming. Go to our website, participate, let us know what you think. Particularly, we asked the public, where should these population increases be located? And we gave some examples of, should they be located in low density residential zones? Should it be a citywide increase, or should we locate population increases within centers? That's the way that we've done it since 2004. And over 75% of all respondents indicated that the city should locate density increases in existing city centers and high density areas. So we had a pretty resounding message from the public to follow that path. And we've been doing public events to try to raise awareness of our comprehensive plan update process. Since July of last year, we've been getting out into the community, trying to let people know about the comp plan process, handing out stickers, having conversations, going to community festivals. There's a list here. I won't read through them all. But yeah, we've been trying hard to let people know. But I'm sure that regardless of that, when the end of the process has come, there will be plenty of people that said we had no idea the comp plan process was happening. And we'll cross that bridge. That being said, also we have we're posting physical flyers at locations throughout the city of Bremerton, mostly in parks, the Marvin Williams Center, Olympic College, whether it's on a poster board, at, a community awareness board, or whether we have some like small retail boxes, like that you might get like a housing flyer out of at some of the parks. Once again, just trying to raise awareness and every month we update those for what the specific planning commission topic is. If anyone has questions, please contact me. Or specifically, if you see something in Bremerton that you like or you don't like, or you want to change somehow, or just let us know we're doing something well, you can send an emailed comment to compplan@ci.bremerton.law.us, and that will be read by our planning commission and city council, and your comment will be posted online. Every comment that we've gotten so far is posted online, and will be considered by our elected officials. If you also submit a comment, you're entered into a monthly raffle that we do. We have these Yeti tumblers with our city logo on them, and we have 2 winners a month. And if you like to have cold drinks while also sporting some city swag, then this could be for you. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you, Garrett. There are a couple of questions. I see some hands raised. So we'll get started on those. Michael, I believe you were the first hand raised.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for all the work you're doing, Mr. Jackson. It's really appreciated. I'm a resident here in Bremerton as well. What I didn't hear, and maybe I missed it in the presentation, is I know you want to increase density to increase, the number of available housing, but how much of that available housing with the new housing coming is going to be specifically set aside for low income housing? And also, what does the city consider, what is the metrics for affordable housing? Because affordable is a pretty relative term. What Bill Gates can afford isn't something that I can afford. So what is the city's definition of affordable housing?
So this comprehensive plan update has been really interesting because there's new guidelines from the state on providing affordable housing. So the state defines for us what affordable housing is. And I think that's typically 30% of your income. But now each jurisdiction within Kitsap County has to plan for individual income bands. So from extremely low income, moderate income, there's specific income bands that we need to show that we're planning for different housing types. Now, the state kind of recognizes in their guidance that some housing just needs to be subsidized in order to be affordable to every income band. And so there's a big push at the state level through the Department of Commerce to provide grants to provide affordable housing for income bands that can't necessarily pay for market rate housing. That being said, there's a push across Washington state to essentially get rid of single family zoning. And that looks like some legislation that has passed both the House and the Senate, and is waiting for the governor's signature. So that's really exciting. We were already planning. So late last year, the city changed our zoning regulations to allow for duplexes and townhomes and cottage housing within the city of Bremerton. With this comprehensive plan update, it was already a proposal to allow for multifamily residential in the low density residential zone. So, but that's further reinforced by this new state legislation passed.
So whose responsibility will it become then to ensure that the new homes that are built will in fact go towards low income residents?
And we have some tools like our multifamily tax exemption program, where if you set aside a certain like 20% of your units for low and moderate income individuals, then you can get a certain tax exemption. But we don't. This direction from the state is that we need going to allow those housing types, which are which promote affordable housing, but there's nothing that the city can do to create affordable housing outside of working with our partners at like Kitsap Community Resources and the Bremerton Housing Authority to financially support the creation of individual projects. Like if you're familiar with Mills Crossing, is a project of new townhomes in the city of Bremerton off the Wheaton Way corridor, where a variety of community organizations have come together to make that a affordable housing project for low-income individuals. So that's how the city can step in and actually create affordable housing, is through financial support for individual housing projects, but requiring we can't require individual developments to have a price point for certain income levels, because that would likely result in no housing being created. And there's already a lot of like July 1st, the building code, energy code gets updated, where the last time the energy code was updated, the cost to create housing, I think, increased like $20,000 per single family home. And now we don't have a dollar estimate on what these new energy code increases are going to cost per residential unit, but we assume that it's going to be substantial. There's some additional requirements from the state about something called the wildlife urban interface, which is going to require a lot of additional fire rating on a lot of housing throughout the city, which is also going to increase the cost to create that housing. One really exciting piece of legislation that's come out that has yet to be signed by the governor. So it's not finalized, but that existing buildings within zones that allow for multifamily housing, that you will be able to remodel the interior of those buildings to add residential units without providing any parking or without meeting current energy code, because it's assumed that reuse of an existing building is already climate friendly because you're reusing what's already there rather than demolishing and creating it. So there, as a double-edged sword, I'm sure there's going to be passionate arguments on either side of that, but at the end of the day, that looks like legislation the state is passing, which will preempt local jurisdictions from making decisions in that regard. I'm sorry if I was babbling, it's exciting stuff.
Thanks, Garrett. And just because this is a city of Bremerton's comprehensive plan, the state's legislation impacts the whole county, and could you, I don't know if you know this, but do other cities in Kitsap County, do they each have their comprehensive plan? I'm not as aware outside of Bremerton.
Absolutely. Every jurisdiction in Kitsap County is going through the same comprehensive plan update that the city is right now. So Paulsville, Fort Orchard, Bainbridge, and Kitsap County as a whole all have their own individual comprehensive plans that they're also in the process of updating.
And so
whatever jurisdiction you live in, just type out Paulsville comprehensive plan update, and that will give you some information on what your jurisdiction you live in is doing.
And so the first step to support or participate would be to fill out that survey.
Survey.
It was a survey for the comprehensive plan.
Oh yeah, totally.
If someone was going to take a first step to try and get involved as a citizen or a resident.
That's a great question. So if anyone is curious, I recommend having an individual conversation with me. Call me up and ask me what your questions are. Otherwise, we have these monthly meetings. That survey has already ended. The results of that survey are online right now. So that postcard was sent out in October or November. So we're gonna have additional surveys, but we have a lot of work to do before we're ready for those. Like our wastewater, our water, our stormwater, all of those plans need to be updated to show that we can meet the population projections that we're heading for. So those utility plans need to get a little further along before we go into more pronounced environmental permitting. But we will have more opportunities in the future for future surveys. But if you're looking for that initial foray, I recommend going to bremerton2044.com, kind of poking around on the website, see if you find anything interesting. And if anyone has questions, I'm available.
Thank you, Garrett. And you do have one super patient person who's been waiting to ask their question. Katie, it's your turn.
Thank you, Garrett. This is kind of in line with Lisa's question, because I do know Kitsap County is very active in their comprehensive plan right now as well. And since this is a group of a lot of community partners, what message can we share about the comprehensive plan that helps your outreach? Because it's kind of hard to understand the bigger picture. I mean, this is a very big picture, but is there action plans inside of this plan? Is it just how land is going to be used? There's just so many pieces, and it's just hard to understand the message that we can share.
And it can be kind of overwhelming because it's the 20-year development plan for the city. So it's a lot to consider. But really, for just like a layperson, for an easy message, I'd say it's like a see something, say something. If you see something in your city that you like or don't like, or that you know, write us a comment about it. If we have, like I said before, we have all of the comments that we've received are posted online. So if you're kind of interested in what the issues are and what other people are thinking about, then you can click on those comments and run through, you know, well, what are other people considering with the city of Bremerton? I know we have a lot of support from the Bremerton Housing Authority for our development plan, because we're, you know, even allowing for multifamily in our low density residential zone, it's just that one component to the plan. It's good for climate change, because a single family flat takes up a lot of land for a bunch of single family homes. It takes up a ton of area, and that could result in a lot of trees being taken down, where the land that's required for a multifamily structure is much more compact, which will require less trees taken down. People that live in multifamily developments typically have less vehicle miles traveled. So if we have, you know, a multifamily apartment in our low density residential zone, there'll be less emissions from vehicles. And then just at a basic point of social equity, that if you don't allow rental structures within within what typically is single family areas, you're essentially forcing people of separate incomes out of those geographies, which is an equity issue. So it's a lot to unpack for kind of every issue that comes up in the comprehensive plan, but that's why it's good to engage the planning commission in our monthly meeting. And, you know, it's good to give me a call. It's good to go to bremerton2044.com and good to enter a comment and win a tumbler.
I like what you said, though. That really resonated. See something, say so. So if anybody has anything about the city or the county or the city they live in, they're doing something right now to plan ahead for that. So this is our time, it sounds like. This is our time to really influence change within the places we live. So I'm so glad you're sharing that message here, and I better understand now when I see you at events. Like I'm excited to share this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we're really excited about affordable housing opportunities. Like just last year, we passed an ordinance where the Bremerton Housing Authority, if it's a project of theirs, then they can have a 50% density increase anywhere in the city. And the Bremerton Housing Authority is really doing the heavy lifting for providing actual affordable housing in the city of Bremerton and in Kitsap County in general. That's what their mission is. It's what they specialize in, and the city supports the Bremerton Housing Authority, both in ways we can loosen up regulations and also just direct financial support to the Bremerton Housing Authority.
Well, thank you, Garrett. I really appreciate it. I think many people in the coalition might know about the barriers that single unit housing areas or zones can cause, but like you answered that. That was gonna be one of my questions. Again, you had mentioned that it was a social, like it was an equity issue if we don't have rentals in these neighborhoods, we don't have different types of housing, and it can be a barrier and create, rich neighborhoods and very impoverished neighborhoods. So I just appreciate that and the information here. And for those of you who are not based in Bremerton, take a peek at the county's plan and your own local municipality's plan and participate. Thank you so much, Garrett. And to close, like you, Mr. Community Builder, which we do here at the coalition, what was your all-time favorite band or musician in high school? We must know.
High school? That's a lot of time to unravel. And, I've always liked, I think I was really into maybe Sam Cooke at the time, kind of going into the oldies but goodies. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Libertines, in the opposite direction of things.
Cool. Well, thank you. We just, we're just trying to get to know each other in virtual world a little bit. So I appreciate you being here and providing information. And I'm going to transition now. So Garrett, you are welcome to stay, but we're going to get agency updates. And so I've asked you to put that in the chat. You can also do me a favor and raise your Zoom hand. And Michael, I'm going to start with you. I think you were the first one that requested in chat today.
Thank you. So I have it's a non-agency update, a request of mine. I'm sure as many of you are aware, Rob Gelder is resigning as District 1 Commissioner. And it is up to the Kitsap County Democrats to appoint a new commissioner, or a recommendation for a new commissioner. So I'd like to put my 23rd executive board member hat on for a minute. And I would like to drop my email in the chat, and I want to kind of take it upon myself to get the perspective of a lot of people in this group, some of you of which I have spoken with already, as to what qualities, what concerns, what type of things from a housing and homelessness standpoint would you be looking for, or would your organization be looking for in a new commissioner for the county? We are going to be doing individual interviews with I believe it is 11 candidates right now. So I can't guarantee I'll get every question answered. I might only get 1 or 2 questions, but I'm generally the most annoying person at the meeting, so they let me ask what I want to just to shut me up. So I can drop my email in the chat, and if you have any suggestions, any comments, concerns, from either a personal standpoint or your organizational standpoint, please email me, let me know. I'm going to be I've spoken to probably 15, 16 organizations already, and I want as many varying opinions as I can get, so I can kind of culminate those, and we can get somebody in the District 1 Commissioner seat that will help advocate for the unhoused and for affordable housing. So So, thank you.
Thank you for recruiting comment, Michael, comment and questions. Can you remind us, like, what is Bob Gelder's, like, district area generally?
He is technically like the Bainbridge, he's District 1, so it's North Kitsap. But our goal for the commissioners is to all work together regardless of their specific district. We want them to work together as Kitsap County. So while his actual district is the north side of Kitsap, things that he will be able to influence, or whoever the new person is will be able to influence, will be countywide.
Okay, and is there a deadline to receive comment?
As soon as you can. I am gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be constructing probably just a few questions to ask during the individual interviews. But I am going to, once we narrow it down, request a personal meeting with each of the top three candidates to see if they'll sit down with me for a cup of coffee or something and talk about the homeless and housing situation.
Okay, I appreciate that, Michael. Yes, put your email in and we'll also get that in the notes. I just want to rouse the group. This is a longer coalition meeting and you are doing great. And I'm not going to give you a break because we've got lots of agency updates, but we're going to get out of here at 4 at the latest. Nicole, you've been patiently waiting and I think you were second in chat and you have your Zoom cam up. So I give the floor to you.
Excellent, thank you. So I'll try to be brief. But my name is Nicole Oberg. I work for the Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization, which is a total mouthful, also known as Salish BHASO. We're one of the 10 BHASOs across the state that receive federal and state funding to administer behavioral health crisis programs. In our particular area is Clallam, Jefferson, and Kitsap County. We do that by partnering with behavioral health agencies to actually serve the community. So we oversee like the REAL program and also HARPS. We are actually, we are looking for for volunteers to serve on our advisory board. And we have a seat open in Kitsap County. Our advisory board is comprised of 3 individuals from each of the 3 counties that we serve, along with a couple of tribal representatives. And they're also individuals who have half of them, I suppose, have lived experience. So I just wanted to put that out there if anybody might be interested. The advisory board is responsible for kind of operationalizing some of these programs that we have, and also establishing priorities for where that funding will be used. So it's a great way for your voice to be heard and to actually influence the administration of behavioral health services in our area. So I will put my email in the chat if you'd like to have any more information or have any questions. I'll also put a link to the advisory board webpage as well, and that has within it an application form. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you being here and sharing that information. Next up is Madison, and then Jason, you're on deck.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me, I'm Madison. I'm the housing program manager with Kitsap Homes of Compassion. I have 2 things to say today. Number 1, I wanted to update you and let you know that we started our Housing First services this month. We've hired a few new people to provide Housing First services for people who are eligible, which is people who make less than 50% of the median income. They're homeless or housing unstable. They have a behavioral health and or substance use behavioral health condition and or substance use disorder. And we're prioritizing people without Medicaid. So we have funding to help remove barriers like past due rent, deposits, getting identification documents, move-in items, stuff like that. So I'm going to drop my email in the chat if you have any questions or, referrals or whatever. You can send them to me and I'll get them distributed to our new housing specialist. The second thing is that next week on Tuesday, April 25th, we're having an open house at our downtown West Bremerton office. So I'd love to see anyone here. You're all invited. If you could RSVP, I'm gonna drop that link in the chat too, just so we know how many people to expect. It's between 4 and 6 p.m. like I said on Tuesday. So I hope to see a bunch of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison. I really appreciate Kitsap Homes of Compassion. I think your capacity has been growing throughout the years and supporting a lot of people in Kitsap. And we're going to learn more about this small but mighty organization in the next coming months. So thank you for those updates and check it out, everyone. Next up is Jason, and then Helen, you are on deck.
All right, so just a few quick updates to run through. So next month is, you're gonna have to listen to my dog in the background too. Next month is considered Older Americans Month. So we've actually got a number of different events scheduled, and I'm hoping you can hear me okay here. So we've got, I'll email out a flyer with the listings to you to send to the group. Yeah, we've got a total of 5 different events coming up in May, so that should be good. So this weekend, this Saturday, there's actually a veterans stand down. So that's at the Sheridan Community Park in our community center in Bremerton from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. So if you know any veterans, homeless veterans, let them know. There's going to be a number of different organizations there that are going to be offering just different services. Sportsmen will be there. I know a lot of Rick Becker, our county representative for veterans, is going to be there, as well as housing and a bunch of other services. So yeah, this Saturday from 10 to 2, Sheridan Park Community Center in Bremerton. We have, so the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, for those of you that are aware of that, just a really quick update on that one. We're hoping to have applications posted hopefully next week. Around that time, they won't start it until, the program won't actually begin until May or June. For those of you that are not aware of this, basically, so Kitsap County, we have, we work with Meals on Wheels Kitsap. We, to provide $80 in, I guess they're switching to kind of like an EBT kind of card now, but $80 for seniors that meet certain income criteria to use at farmers markets locally. So they just need to complete an application. We'll have on our website, Meals on Wheels Kitsap will have on theirs, and then send it in. But so there's that, and then we still have our hospital care transitions program. So if you know anyone transitioning home from one of the local hospitals out here, and they might need some extra support getting services set up, definitely give us a call and we can talk to you about the program or how to make a referral happen. So anyway.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. I know the library likes to distribute the senior farmers market applications. And it sounds like the aging, I'm going to get the divisioning wrong, but the aging and long-term care division of the county, it looks like you're doing great work. Thank you for being here and for sharing updates. Okay, Helen, you have the floor, and Martitha, you are on deck next.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm the program director for the Kitsap Rescue Mission, and I just wanted to welcome our new housing manager. She's here today. Her name is Emily Larson. So we're really thrilled to have her. She's going to be out in the community visiting with you all and helping our guests find some housing. And so we're really, really happy and grateful to have Emily with us.
Thanks, Helen. Emily, are you there so we can see you? I don't know if you are. Zoom can be hard that way. I'm glad that you have a manager there. How are things going at the Kitsap Rescue Mission, Helen?
They're going really good. Yeah, we're up to about 93 people now, and we hope to get up to about 100 plus. And so we're very looking forward to the Pacific building. And so we're getting excited for that, making some changes, and so things are going good with all your help and all your resources. you know, we're gonna survive and we're gonna continue to fight this battle, you know? Yeah.
Thanks so much to you and your team.
Hi, I just want to jump in and thank
Oh,
Helen.
Emily, there you are. Sorry, it's like, thank you. Nice to see your face. Welcome to the coalition and to this work.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's been great sitting in this meeting and hearing about everybody's resources and seeing the collaboration in the community. It's wonderful. So I'm just so excited to be here. And I'll be reaching out to a lot of you to like maybe sit down, have a coffee, and just learn more about how we can connect and help people.
Okay, Emily, we appreciate that. If you need help like connecting with anyone, you can also start with the admin email for the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition. We can try and direct you. We don't have emails that are publicly shared, but we can try and direct you if you're looking for specific organizations or partners. Okay. Glad you're here and welcome aboard. And next up is Martita. And after Martita is Jill.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon again. Martita May, I work with the Kitsap Public Health District. I'm the community health worker. And well, I wear many hats, but right now we'll talk about the health district. I am so happy working for this organization and working for the parent-child program. We have the Nurse Family Partnership. I'm so excited because we help pregnant women for the first time. They can be mom for the first time, and we can enroll them into the program with a personal nurse. So having a private nurse for them to be able to qualify, you know, it just need to go through the screening process, but they will be able to, the nurse will be able to support during the entire pregnancy and how to identify, you know, if something is coming up wrong or connected with the doctors. Also will help child development and provide all these tons of support, as well to order a car seat, stroller, baby diapers. I mean, everything if they come to our program. So I'll be very happy to visit your agency. Please let me know if you are interested for me to drop off some flyers and talk about more about the program, which is I just in love with this program because we make a huge difference in our community. And it's just people are so happy when I mentioned having your personal nurse, you know, to visit you in your home or at work or the place that you choose. So excited to talk about our program. Please let me know. You can send me an email. I will put my email here and let me know if you want me to come to your organization and drop off some flyers. Also put some information about Kitsap Mesa Redonda. Everybody's welcome to come to those meetings, and then we can share information as well on flyers. So thank you so much. And Lisa, nice seeing you. And it's so nice to come back to the States. I was on vacation in Mexico and just so happy to start working again.
Yay! So glad that you're here and in that role. Nurse Family Partnership is it works. So if you guys have any interest or clients that might be interested in their services, please reach out to Martita or I can help you connect with her.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Jill, you're up, and then Katie, I think you're next. There's an update from Marwan too. There's a letter, so Jill, you're next.
Thanks, Lisa. So I just wanted to give a quick update about the vouchers. So as most of you know, we were in a big rush to issue as many vouchers as we could in the last 2 years because we were underutilizing our vouchers, and we have now slowed down because HUD is mandating us to slow down because we actually did such a great job. We used up most of our money. Not that we won't have money for the year, but we used up all of the excess dollars. So now we're going to be slowing down. But that being said, we're always applying for new sources of funding for vouchers. And we have between the Bremerton Housing Authority and Housing Kitsap, we're going to receive 14 more vouchers for our community. They're called stabilization vouchers, and they will not be vouchers that we use to pull from the people on our wait list. They actually have to be referred into us from the Housing Solutions Center. So just to keep in mind, we'll be working with them, but you know, if you have families that could use one of these vouchers, might be an opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. That's great news. And again, they need to be directly referred. Okay. All right. Next up is Katie.
Hi, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't know, stop me if somebody's here to talk about the CNA, but the Community Needs Assessment Dashboard was just released. We put it in one of our emails, and I wanted to show you where you can find that. So I don't know if it's published on the Kitsap Health District website yet, but it is on our website. And as we talked before about accessing all our emails via the archive. So if you go to kitsapHHC.org and you scroll down to the middle, actually, you can see mailing list where you can sign up for our mailing list. I know some of you here may have had an older Zoom link and you still might not receive our emails. So make sure you sign up, share the link. It's always on the home page. Sign up at the mailing list. And then archived information. So of course you can contact us using this form. This goes to our regular admin@kitsapphc.org email. But I want to show you the archive. Click on the archive. I've showed it here before, but it's always nice to see that we can see everything in date order, starting from the most recent email newsletter. So this in the March 30th newsletter, we posted information about the community needs assessment. Let's zoom in here. And again, everything can be found at the top. So I'm looking for the community needs assessment and click here and it pops to the heading on the newsletter. And if you go, there's a lot of links just to go to the dashboard, but Marwan actually has a lot of information on how to use the dashboard on his podcast too. So again, I'm just going to show you real quick. There's a lot of housing information. It's great, you know, encouraging the community to use all of these results is going to be key to decision making. So I want to make sure everyone here is aware that it's out. The information can be looked at, viewed, played with. Like, we encourage you to use it, and just let us know if you want to see anything else, or maybe we can do a training at this meeting at one point. But I want to make sure everybody here knows that the community needs assessment results are out.
Thanks, Katie. Can you also, so Carla Foster is going to do a presentation next month and kind of walk us through the CNA or the community needs assessment. Katie, I don't know if I don't think I did an adequate job helping people to know where to apply to be a coalition member, even if they were one. Can you go back to the homepage of the website? So you can access like to register for the meeting, register here for Zoom, you can also watch the recorded meetings. For those of you who want the free mail and resource guide, they're at the top. And then I think the link to the application, like it's the membership application, it's somewhere in the middle. It's essentially one page and you scroll down a lot.
I was looking for it, so it's not on there. So one thing that just to let everyone know too, we really want to work on what people are looking for on our website. It's something that's on our mind. Right now, we're trying to make sure the resources are key on the website. But if you do have any feedback or want to see something specific, you know, you could always let us know too. The membership, I think it's still in flux. I don't know if Leif might have removed that application because we weren't using that. We didn't know how that form was being used. So I recommend signing up for the mailing list, and then we'll get information out about like how we're getting the membership refined, because right now our mailing list is probably the best way to get more information about our membership. So I don't know if the form is on, because I don't know if the form is on here.
Oh no, it was a
maybe.
join us button.
Wait.
I will send that out as well. There is a join us button, and we did have some people that were sending applications. Aha, it's in the About Us Apply Now. So it's, if you have that up, Katie, or I can share.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
So About Us, apply now, and I'm clicking on it, but nothing is actually happening.
Scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. It's embedded in it.
Right here? No.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Go.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the same
it's been a
application.
while.
User experience, we're gonna work on it, but that's something that is definitely on our minds. But if you are on the mailing list, when we update all of our membership, we'll definitely be getting the word out for the mailing list too. So
Thanks. So just think about that. There is one more update, everyone, from PCHS. I want you to know I didn't forget. But just know we're trying to like improve the structure of the coalition and to check that website. Also, if you apply, that helps me to send you information about how you can participate as a member. All right. I believe it's Danielle. Thank you for your patience. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. So my name is Danielle, Peninsula Community Health Services, and I just wanted to update that our COVID vaccine site at Gateway their last day is going to be May 19th. So we only have 3 vaccine dates left until we close it and move our COVID vaccines to our mobile unit. So we will be there this Friday, and then May 5th, and then May 19th, and then we're closing it.
Okay. So could we share information with our organizations, clients, and patrons that if people needed to get a vaccine test, they could reach out to PCHS and they're provided via all mobile units visits?
So it's not going to be all mobile unit visits. We're still working on what the schedule will be for that, but I can get that information to you when I have it.
Okay, thank you, Danielle.
And then just one more update. Sorry. For the public health emergency ending, the wind down for Apple Health, we have a renewal event going on May 5th for any of those that need help with renewing or have questions about the public health emergency wind down. So we will be at the Gateway Center from 9 to 3 answering questions about that on May 5th. And I will get a flyer as soon as that's finished. I'll get a flyer out.
Thank you, Danielle. Just send that flyer to the admin email and we'll try and get that posted or at least share out less formally if the timeline is tight. The last thing I want to share is this is the North Kitsap, but Adventist Church in Paulsbo is having a free dental care clinic in their school gym. This is April 23rd from 8 to 3. Again, that's Paulsbo Adventist Church in their gym, April 23rd, which is a Sunday, and they're having a free dental care clinic. I'm going to stop the meeting. It was chock full. Many thanks to all of you and to Priya for trying to capture everything that is said. There's a lot there. So thank you. Have a wonderful month. And next month, be ready on the 3rd Wednesday to learn more about the community needs assessment. Take care.